Welcome to my channel. You're watching KNV Monsters. In today's video, we are going to be going over the final round of the Yellow Thunder tournament, and my opponent is going to be Blade. In case you forgot the team that I'm using, I will be using Cannondramon with the SSR Enhance ability and Giga with the SR Synchro ability. So for the first match here, I wasn't really too sure how to go about it. I decided to lead with the Giga first, just to see exactly how it would fare against the Kazuchimon or the X7, but as you can tell here, I was able to go first, so that does give me an advantage to get some chip damage in on the Kazuchimon. The only threat in this particular battle is going to be the X7, and so I'm assuming my opponent is going to try to use the X7 to get the upper hand on me in some way, shape, or form. One thing I do have to be mindful of is that my opponent is rocking two monsters with the Life Zap ability, and so right now I'm getting minus 30% HP to both my Giga and the Cannondramon. So the defense that I'm initially counting on for the Giga here is going to be basically countered with the Life Zap ability. My opponent W attacks, and the Giga was able to survive with 1 HP. I go ahead and W attack right after to see if I can get rid of the Kazuchimon, but the Kazuchimon does get a Guts, which is unfortunate for me. So my opponent is able to take out the Giga while having the Kazuchimon still in play. I think the playing fields would have been a lot more even if I was able to get chip damage on the Shopmon X7. On the first defense here, I do miss a perfect, which is definitely not good. My opponent's going to be doing a massive amount of damage, especially with the minus 30% HP. Even though I do have the 25% HP boost, that does mitigate about 25% of their Sap Life ability. But I'm still at a disadvantage here because the Shopmon X7 was able to get the chip damage. I'm pretty much not able to keep up with the amount of damage coming in. And so yeah, judging by the amount of damage that's being dished out to the X7 and the amount of damage that is coming in, there's pretty much no way that I can keep up with my opponent here. They're going to be a turn ahead of me in this matchup, which definitely puts me at a disadvantage. When my opponent's X7 has one more hit on it, they will have already killed my Cannondramon by that time, unless I get like a Guts or something. Yeah, there you go. This X7 is definitely posing as a threat to my team, especially with the Sap Life. It doesn't help that I have full-on defense. My opponent basically just counters my entire lineup. And so I do lose the first round here, but going into the second match, I did decide to play a little bit differently. So I wanted to lead with the Cannondramon first to just judging by how much damage the Giga took in the last matchup with the W attack, I wanted to kind of lead with the Cannondramon to see if I can have a little more of a tanky monster out in front for the first couple turns, and my opponent decides to go with the Kazuchimon. I do get the first turn on this matchup here. And so basically my plan is to soak up damage with Cannondramon. As you can tell, the Kazuchimon is not doing as much damage to the Cannondramon, so that is definitely a good thing. Hopefully if I play my cards right, what I can do is block the W attack with the Cannondramon in the back and just have Cannondramon finish out the rest of the match. But let's see how this goes. So my opponent decides to W, and I do soak up the hit with the Cannondramon in the front, and as you could tell, the amount of damage is not nearly as significant as the match before. So I decided to W attack right after, praying that my opponent was not going to get a guts on this turn. Okay, good. So the Cannondramon goes down, and now all that's left for me to do is put some chip damage here on the X7 and then finish out the game with the Cannondramon. Okay, there's one attack from Cannondramon. And Cannondramon goes down. I was able to get one attack on the X7, which puts me in a good position because now I've got 2 attacks ahead of my opponent here, because the Cannondramon and now the Cannondramon, since it's leading first with the attack. And so now my opponent has to basically keep up with my health. And since there are already 2 attacks behind, I think that this one is pretty much in the bag. Okay, it looks like our Cannondramon has one more attack to do on the X7. Hopefully our opponent does not get a guts there. I don't think it'll matter too much, but it'll just make my life a lot harder. Alright, and the X7 goes down. I was able to take match 2, so that does bring us to a match 3 for this tournament final round. And I'm expecting my opponent to do something a little bit different here. I'm leading with the Cannondramon again. My opponent decides to go with the X7. And so my opponent gets to go first on this match here, which might put me at a disadvantage here, but I'm not too sure. If I get enough damage in early enough, I can W early and do a massive amount of damage when I need to. Okay, so my opponent decides to W attack here. I decided to block with the Cannondramon because I knew it was going to survive a W attack if it was incoming. Just due to the HP that I get with the Cannondramon does mitigate most of the sap life ability. So I decided to W attack right after that. My opponent blocks with the Cannondramon in the back, hoping that their X7 is going to maintain most of the health so that they can finish out the game with the X7, which is definitely a good plan. My opponent takes down the Cannondramon and Cannondramon comes out. So my opponent has a couple options here. They can block in the back with the Cannondramon for the remainder of the turns, just to kind of save face with the X7. They do decide to block here for some reason, which is totally fine. Either way, it would have been the same. But basically, I think they're game plan is to keep the X7 alive, to keep doing a massive amount of damage. Since the Kazuchimon is going to be at a type disadvantage, it will obviously be doing less damage. Okay, so my opponent decides to start blocking with Kazuchimon in the back, and looks like I have one more hit on the Kazuchimon in the back, hoping that there is no more guts for the rest of the game. The Kazuchimon goes down, and now all that's left to do is to burn down my opponent as quickly as possible. My opponent whiffed on this attack here, which might have lost them the game, I'm pretty sure, because if they got a really good attack on that one right there, I would be super low HP for their next turn. But I'm able to get another attack in on the X7. And the X7 does one more attack here. And unfortunately for my opponent, it is not enough damage for the Cannondramon to go down, which gives me the opportunity to finish off the X7 with one more attack here. And the X7 goes down, no guts proc or anything like that. So there you go, I was able to win the Yellow Thunder tournament. This was an amazing tournament. I had a lot of fun battling with the people that were participating in this tournament. There was a lot of things to consider before the tournament, as you saw my first 3 videos on the team composition discussions. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone who's watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment down below if you're interested in participating in any future tournaments that are coming up. I really enjoyed this tournament, and I'm actually really happy that I got to win. This was definitely a super fun event to participate in. But yeah, GG's to my opponent Blade. It was definitely a tough battle. I think there was a lot of things that I could have messed up. Definitely leading with the Cannondramon in the second and third match was a great idea, which caused my opponent to play differently as well by leading with the X7 in the final match, which almost won them the game. But I was able to slip by because my opponent missed a really good attack on the second to last turn. So GG's to my opponent Blade, GG's to everybody else who participated in the tournament, and thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.